Aliens encounter with human warship freezes Warlord in fear. Subscribe, and comment where you are watching from. Part 1, Ember over Veltrax. The skies above Veltrax prime boiled red. War drums beat in the stratosphere as the Tsar Dominion's fleet of flame descended. Dozens of angular warcraft, jagged like blades, painted the upper atmosphere in streaks of black fire. In the command bridge of the flagship, the Tsar warlord Skarn Voltor leaned forward on his obsidian throne, claws drumming against polished metal. A six-eyed officer approached, twitching nervously. "My warlord, scans report an anomaly in orbit. A singular ship. No heat signature. No transponder." Voltor's mandibles clicked with interest. "Not Tsar. No, warlord. Not ours. Not Accord. Unknown. Then it dies." He rose. "A mountain of sinew and armor plates. Route all cannons to bear. Prepare the Ashfire lance." "Yes, warlord." Voltor flexed his talons and hissed in anticipation. "Another weakling dares orbit my conquest. Soon Veltrax will burn, and this shadow will be the first to learn what fear means." Orbit of Veltrax, human stealth cruiser, HSS Vengeance. The ship didn't look like much. It had no sharp angles. No glowing engines. No visible weapons. It appeared, asleep. But inside, Captain Amara Rourke sat in silence, watching the feed from long-range telescopes. The Tsar ships moved like a swarm, fast, angry, efficient. She watched them bracket the planet with military precision. Her XO, Lieutenant Jace Varn, frowned. "They've got 10 times our firepower. Are we seriously just going to sit here?" Rourke didn't respond at first. Her gloved fingers danced over the command interface, overlaying trajectories and velocity readings. "I want to see how they react before we say hello." Jace raised an eyebrow. "That's a hell of a quiet hello." Rourke smirked. "You've never seen us speak loudly." Tsar flagship, minutes later. "Warlord, we have them targeted." Voltor stood tall, raising both arms. The crew of the bridge bowed in unison. "Let the void take them." The Ashfire lance fired, a beam of burning plasma, 500 meters wide, hotter than a star's heart. It struck HSS Vengeance directly. For a second, the human cruiser was swallowed whole by searing light. Then, silence. No explosion. No debris. Just, the ship. Still there. Unmoving. Unburned. Unharmed. Voltor blinked his upper eyes. Again. Aboard Vengeance. Jace flinched as the lance hit. Nothing happened. Not even a flicker inside. "Shield integrity, 100%, the AI reported calmly. Rourke leaned back. "Let's see what they do now." Jace laughed nervously. "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" She nodded slowly. "I want them to know." Tsar flagship, bridge panic. "Warlord, it's still there. No damage." Voltor's claws tore into the throne. "How is that possible?" They must be using some form of field displacement. "We cannot." "I said destroy it." The Tsar fleet turned in full. 38 warships opened fire. Rail cannons. Plasma orbs. Kinetic spikes. The sky over Veltrax filled with apocalyptic fury. And still, the Vengeance didn't move. Didn't fire. Didn't so much as blink. Voltor stared at the monitor. His heart thudded faster. Inside Vengeance. "Com uplink?" Rourke asked. "Ready." She nodded. "Broadcast to all Tsar channels." A short pause. Then. "This is Captain Amara Rourke of the Terran Navy. You fired on a human vessel. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Leave Veltrax. Or be remembered in fire. She cut the feed. Jace stared at her. You sure about this? She gave a small shrug. They asked first. Zar flagship, Voltor freezes. The voice was calm. Unshaken. Human. The name Terran Navy triggered ancient, half-whispered memories. The last time a Terran ship entered battle, 3 empires collapsed. Skarn Voltor hadn't believed those stories. He thought them myths. Now, that voice chilled him. He could feel something he hadn't since childhood. Fear. Part 2, The Ship That Doesn't Bleed. Veltrax orbit, 8:43 Standard Galactic Time. The Zar fleet hovered in a deadly crescent, every warship locked onto the single, unmoving human cruiser. But no matter how many missiles screamed toward it, how many beams tore across its hull, the HSS Vengeance refused to yield. It was like punching a shadow made of steel. And the Zar were starting to notice. Zar flagship, bridge of the Dominion's fist. Warlord Skarn Voltor stood frozen. He had watched civilizations scream and die. He had hunted warm-blooded prey across ice moons and vaporized cities with his bare claws. But nothing, had prepared him for a ship that ignored the Dominion's wrath. An officer approached, whispering in low clicks. The crew, they're growing unsettled, Warlord. Some think the Terran vessel is a Revenant class. A ghost ship. Voltor bared his fangs. Ghosts bleed. This doesn't. He slammed a clawed fist into the console. Get me that captain. I want to speak with this. Rourke. Aboard HSS Vengeance. Com link opening, Jace Varn said, flicking switches. Incoming transmission from the Zar flagship. Captain Rourke didn't move from her seat. She watched the display as the monstrous face of Skarn Voltor appeared, black chitin glistening, tusks curled, eyes burning with restrained fury. You toy with us, human, Voltor growled. But your silence will end in your death. Rourke's eyes narrowed. You fired first. And you fired without speaking. You orbit my conquest. Veltrax is not yours. It's a neutral accord-protected system. Voltor hissed. Your accord is ash. We are the new law. Rourke leaned forward, voice razor-sharp. Then let me show you what happens when you break our law. She ended the call. Jace looked at her, pale. Should I prep the payloads? Rourke nodded once. Ship systems online, designation, HSS Vengeance. Status, engaged. Target lock, multiple. Active systems, Gravlance Array / Subspace Shatterfield / 0-point Railgun, primary. Crew count, 14, battle stations engaged. Veltrax high orbit, 6 minutes later. Without warning, the Vengeance moved. Just a shimmer, a flicker of light displacement, and it vanished from all Zar sensors. One of the forward Zar destroyers, Dusk of Tyrants, began to sound proximity alarms. Then it exploded. Not in flame. It imploded, folding inward as if pulled through itself, reduced to a pinpoint of nothing before a shockwave blew debris into the rest of the fleet. The Zar screamed in confusion. Then another ship vanished. And another. The Vengeance wasn't firing from a distance. It was inside the fleet. Zar flagship. Warlord Voltor stared at the chaos. Where is it? Where is it? No visuals. It's inside our ECM net. Deploy swarm mines. Collapse formation. Ship scrambled. But the Vengeance was a scalpel in a mess of hammers. It darted like a thought, impossibly fast, landing pinpoint slashes of graviton fire that sliced Zar hulls open like fruit. 15 ships gone in 40 seconds. Then it reappeared. Right in front of the Dominion's fist. Aboard HSS Vengeance. Locking final target, Jace announced. Execute. The Vengeance's forward lance rotated, opened, revealing the 0-point railgun. A pulse of compressed mass was launched at near light speed. It slammed through Dominion's fist, splitting the Warlord's ship in half. Rourke stood. Open comms. One last time. Tsar emergency broadcast. The broken remains of Voltor's fleet floated silently as the Terran channel cut in. Captain Rourke appeared, face impassive. To the Tsar Dominion. Your Warlord is dead. Your fleet lies in pieces. Veltrax remains free. Let this be your lesson. Humans are not ghosts. We are not myths. We are what waits at the end of arrogance. Later, Veltrax Prime, Surface Relief Zone. The people of Veltrax emerged from bunkers to blue skies. Children looked upward to see a shadow streaking away into space, silent, dark, victorious. A refugee whispered, they said the Terrans wouldn't come. That they'd abandoned us. Another answered, they didn't come for us. A pause. They came for justice. Tsar Empire, weeks later. The war courts debated endlessly. Some claimed the Terran vessel was an AI-run relic, others called it an act of war. But all agreed on one thing. The Terran Navy had returned. And they had sent only one ship. Part 3, Fear in the Eyes of Empires. 3 weeks later, Galactic Accord Assembly, Sector Theta Prime. The assembly floor, usually a cathedral of calm diplomacy, buzzed like a stirred wasp hive. Dozens of species, hundreds of delegates, streamed messages across star charts showing Veltrax Prime and its orbiting wreckage, 38 Tsar warships reduced to twisted metal. One black silhouette still floating silently, HSS Vengeance. At the heart of the chaos, Ambassador Threxel of the Solari Combine slammed his four-fingered fist against the podium. Humanity has re-entered the field of force, and they did so without approval, without coordination, and without restraint. 100 eyes turned to the quiet woman seated at the human delegation's desk, Ambassador Celeste Wren. She rose slowly. No weapons. No entourage. Just a steel gaze. You forget, Ambassador, she said, voice even, Veltrax is an accord world. Protected. Invaded by the Tsar. We responded. You annihilated them. We sent one ship, she said. Silence. Then soft murmurs, fear, awe, grudging respect. And how many more do you have? Threxel demanded. Celeste's lips twitched in the faintest smile. We didn't say we had more. She leaned in. We didn't say we needed more. Tsar Dominion, Throne World Grax. The new Tsar High Commander, Lord Akrazul, stared at a war table flickering with tactical maps. He destroyed a third of our outer flame armada, with one vessel, he hissed. Yes, Lord. And yet Earth is silent. No demands. No follow-up invasion. No declaration of war. No, Lord. Akrazul's claws scraped the steel edge of the table. They don't act like conquerors. No, Lord. Then what are they? No one answered. But every Tsar warrior in the room felt it, the creeping dread. Not from defeat. From not understanding what Earth wanted. Aboard HSS Vengeance, Deep Void Patrol. Captain Amara Rourke stood at the observation deck, watching a blue-green moon drift across a sun's edge. Jace Varn sipped coffee beside her. They're all talking about us, he said. The Assembly. The outer colonies. Even pirate bands are moving away from Terran trade routes. They should, Rourke replied. Jace looked at her. You planning to sleep anytime soon? She gave a half-smile. Sleep when the stars go quiet. He studied her face. The hard calm. The little flickers of exhaustion under the eyes. You ever wonder if we went too far? No. Silence stretched. Because we didn't go far enough. Human colonial outpost, Lorani 6. In a newly rebuilt defense station, civilians watched news feeds loop the Vengeance's appearance at Veltrax. The blast. The precision. The silence. A young woman, Lieutenant Rhea Kale, recent Academy graduate, stood transfixed. I thought we were done with war, she said to the grizzled sergeant beside her. The man shrugged. We were. Then why did they keep the ship? He sipped his drink. Because someone always thinks Earth forgot how to bleed. They come. They push. He pointed at the screen. And then they remember. Accord Intelligence Report, Classified Level 10. Subject, HSS Vengeance, Current Status. Classification, Active Deployment. Commanding Officer, Captain Amara Rourke. Engagements, Veltrax Prime, confirmed. Casualties, 0, human, /estimated 12,000 plus, ZAR. Known capabilities. Gravitic displacement. Subspace jamming. 0-point rail cannon. Neural dampening field, unconfirmed. Summary. Terran Navy has fielded a strategic deterrent. Purpose is unclear. No open threats made. No demands issued. Recommendation. Do not engage. Do not approach. Do not assume limits. Outer System, derelict pirate broadcast. From a drifting wreck near the edge of mapped space, an audio recording was captured and spread. Voice crackling, frantic. We didn't even see it. Just a black shimmer in the nebula, and then the reactor's gone. They didn't take cargo. Didn't board. Just, hovered. We tried to hail. They didn't answer. It's not a warship. It's a judge. Captain's log, HSS Vengeance. They called us extinct. Soft. Complacent. They forgot what built Earth's peace, how much fire it took to cool the forge. Now they remember. We are not a threat because we speak loudly. We are a threat because we only speak when it's already too late. Part 4, Names Written in Fire. Tsar Dominion, Ashhold Citadel. The throne room was dim. Cold. A flickering fire pit cast warping shadows across towering stone pillars. It had once echoed with the sounds of conquest, cheers, chants, the screams of defeated rivals. Now, it was silent. Warlord Akrazul knelt alone before the wall of iron names, a relic from the early days of the Dominion. Each etched line represented a campaign. A victory. He carved a new one slowly. Hands trembling. Veltrax, human intervention, total loss. The blade slipped in his clawed hand. A trickle of purple blood dropped to the floor. For the first time in generations, a Tsar warlord carved a defeat into the wall. Human core space, Terran command, New Geneva. A sea of screens shimmered with tactical overlays and diplomatic chatter. Dozens of officers managed signals and fleet movements. At the center, Admiral Cora Lansing stood still, eyes locked on a slowly spinning schematic of the HSS Vengeance. Behind her, Ambassador Celeste Wren stepped into the command chamber. You're getting pressure from the Accord Council, she said, voice flat. Lansing didn't look back. Let them send messages. They want assurances. Limits. Promises. Lansing's lips tightened. They want to cage something they never understood. Wren stepped beside her. So what's the plan? Lansing exhaled. We wait. And we watch who dares test the silence. Aboard HSS Vengeance, observation deck. The stars looked unchanged. Still. Peaceful. But Captain Amara Rourke knew better. Each system they passed through, pirates withdrew, unknown signals scrambled out of range, even former adversaries suddenly remembered diplomatic channels. It wasn't because of her ship. It was because of what it represented. Jace Varn joined her, coffee in hand. We just got a relay ping. The Qatari Accord wants to gift us a cruiser in thanks for Veltrax. Rourke laughed, a dry sound. A gift? From the same species that sold intel to the Tsar 6 months ago. They're terrified. They should be. She turned to him. What do you see when you look at us, Jace? What do you see when we leave a world silent behind us? He was quiet a long time. Then, I see the reason no one pokes the sleeping giant anymore. Veltrax Prime, Memorial Ridge. Thousands gathered at the newly erected site overlooking the shattered upper stratosphere where the battle had raged. Children clutched small replicas of the Vengeance. Survivors lit candles shaped like stars. At sunset, the sky bloomed orange-red. In that light, a massive sculpture was revealed, not of weapons, not of soldiers, but of a single phrase carved in steel. Let the silence before their response teach you fear. Galactic Fringe, Enclave of the Vayari Swarm. Inside a dim, hive-lit chamber of the Vayari Queen Mother, trillions of thoughts pulsed in chorus. They broke the Tsar, one mind clicked. They did not ask for tribute. Or territory. Or blood. They simply erased. The Queen Mother pulsed a response. Earth does not seek conquest. Earth seeks silence. But if disturbed, it remembers how to roar. Flashback, Earth, year 2231, the Burning Sky War. Before the Vengeance, before peace, before unification, the Earth burned. A fragmented humanity fought itself, cracked beneath the weight of ambition, greed, and fear. Cities turned to dust. Orbits rained fire. It was there, in that apocalyptic crucible, that the first designs of the Vengeance were drawn, not as a weapon of conquest, but as a shield that could never be broken again. The only way to stop war, was to become its final chapter. Back aboard HSS Vengeance. The crew was quiet. A long-range probe had returned footage. A new Tsar fleet was being built. Slower. Cautious. But it was growing. Jace leaned over the screen. They're rebuilding. Rourke nodded. Of course they are. Fear fades. Ambition doesn't. You think they'll come back? She considered. No. I think they'll send someone else. Someone who thinks we were a trick of luck. A freak victory. Someone who forgot that Earth remembers everything. She activated the weapons calibration subroutines. The hum of the ship changed, subtle, alive. And she smiled. Let them come. Part 5, the final message. Galactic Deep Space, Sector 9K, the Black Shelf. In the farthest reaches of explored space, a transmission beacon blinked in lonely rhythm. It had been silent for decades. Now, it spoke again. To any Terran vessel. A new warlord rises. He gathers under the false name of Unity. He says you are myth. He says you bleed like the rest. Come prove him wrong. Aboard HSS Vengeance, Mission Briefing Deck. The holoprojector displayed the rotating image of Warlord Karn's Valhar, a towering creature with obsidian armor and a face like a blade. He's uniting remnants of the Tsar, pirates, fringe war clans, Jace explained. Calls it the Burning Dawn Compact. Captain Rourke folded her arms. How many ships? 67 confirmed. Possibly more hidden. Half of them are new chassis. Faster. Stronger. And he wants us to respond. Jace nodded. She stared into the flickering image of the Warlord. Then let's answer. Just like last time. Council of Accord, emergency session. Ambassador Wren stood at the podium, projection feeds from hundreds of species watching intently. We have received a challenge, she said. Another warlord seeking to define the galaxy by fire. She gestured toward the live feed of the Vengeance powering its engines. We are not sending an armada. We are not mobilizing colonies. She smiled faintly. We are sending the same message we sent last time, one ship is enough. Warlord Karn's Valhar, Outer System, Outer Verge. The Burning Dawn fleet loomed around his throne carrier. 68 ships. Each armed, polished, hungering for glory. We have studied the Terran ship, he said to his command ring. We know its tricks. Its systems. Its weaknesses. He raised a massive hand. Let the humans come. This time, they will not return. Arrival, HSS Vengeance. The Terran cruiser slipped into system without flare, as silent as a whisper in a tomb. Every ship in Karn's fleet lit up with active scans. Missiles primed. Shields bristling. Is that it? One of his lieutenants scoffed. No escort. Karns grinned. They are proud creatures. It will be their end. Then, the Vengeance spoke. Universal Channel Broadcast, uncoded. To the Burning Dawn Compact. You sought us. You spoke our name. And now we are here. This is not war. This is the closing of your chapter. Combat begins, 8 seconds of fury. The Vengeance moved first. Not with weapons, but with gravity. Its singularity lances turned the nearest 2 ships into pinpoints of neutron collapse. Zero-point blasts fractured hulls without warning. EMP bursts detonated pre-fired torpedoes in enemy tubes before they launched. Karns' fleet tried to scatter. They failed. Each ship that broke formation was struck by invisible beams that crushed internal chambers without piercing hulls. Inside of 8 seconds, 20 ships were gone. No return fire landed. Karns' comms began screaming. What is this? What is this? A new voice answered, calm and cold. This is Earth remembering you. Warlord's throne, final stand. Desperate, Karns ordered a full charge toward the Vengeance. His dreadnought fired every weapon, pulse cannons, antimatter torpedoes, rift-laced mines. The human ship didn't dodge. It absorbed the hits. Shields crackled, but did not break. Systems flared, and retaliated. The dreadnought buckled. Decks caved. Oxygen fires danced in vacuum. Karns watched in horror as his bridge peeled open to the void, just as a single kinetic slug from the Vengeance punched through the ship's core and silenced it forever. Aftermath, stillness. Of 68 ships, none remained. The Vengeance hovered alone in the empty field. It did not broadcast. It did not gloat. It simply turned, and jumped to warp. Council of Accord, post-action analysis. They've done it again, said a Solari analyst. No warning. No survivors. One ship. An Alari strategist leaned in. What do they want? The room went quiet. Then a historian from Earth spoke, eyes distant. They don't want anything. Then why? Because they remember what it's like to be weak. To be invaded. To be laughed at. He paused. They just want to make sure no one forgets again. Final scene, Earth, dusk over the Atlantic. Captain Rourke stood on a quiet cliffside, the Vengeance far above in orbit. Jace joined her, older now, a streak of gray at his temple. You ever going to rest? Rourke watched the sun disappear beneath the waves. One day. When they stop testing us. And if they don't? She turned to him, smile soft but firm. Then we remind them. He nodded. And in the silence that followed, the stars blinked, each one just a little quieter. The end.